Lamar Jackson is out. Kyler Gordon's on IR. Same with Braxton Jones. What's going on here? Let's talk about all of that, plus so much more in this week's Bears Ravens preview episode. Lots to talk about here, especially because it all happened in the last hour. Let's go. Bend over to your right. What the was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk. What's going on, Bears fans, and welcome to another episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, of course, share this YouTube channel with all of your fellow Bears fans. What's up, everybody? It's Saturday, and it has been insane. I actually just got off the golf course. Last time I'm going to, book a tee time on a Saturday. It was like 40 degrees outside by the time our tee time happened, and all this news was dropping, and I'm out there playing golf. But glad to be here with you guys talking about everything that's happened in the last hour and a half or so with the Bears-Ravens Week 8 matchup. And Nick Grimes here, I think, in the chat, lays it out perfectly. We went from we're so back to it's so over to we're so back in record time. And honestly, I feel like it's been like that with what I think is one of the strangest things that I've seen happen with a injury designation for the Baltimore Ravens to go from a full participant in Friday's practice, a full participant, which led me to believe that Lamar Jackson was going to play on Sunday. When you see that, everything's trending in the right direction. The Baltimore Ravens are writing an article on their main website. Everything seems to be trending in the direction of Lamar Jackson making his return off of a hamstring injury that's forced him to miss the last 2 weeks to come back to play this Week 8 matchup against the Chicago Bears. That then go into Saturday morning, backtracking from a full participant to now a limited, being the quarterback with kind of the second string offense and dialing it back, and then being placed out, injury designation, just out for Sunday's game. That honestly, to me, it's just some shady stuff going on over there. And this is what, a day after or the same day where we have everything going on in the NBA with all of the betting and all the controversy, the FBI being involved. The NFL is definitely going to get involved to know exactly what happened with the Baltimore Ravens and their organization to do it too with one of the highest status players in the NFL, Lamar Jackson. From full to limited to out, insane stuff. But it does benefit the Bears that you don't have to deal with that guy on Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium. But it's just weird how it all happened. So then you have that. And then we have another comment here from Vizzo Joe. Kyler Gordon went from Spider-Man to Glass Man. And we're going to have a conversation about Kyler Gordon here because, yes, Kyler Gordon didn't show up on the injury report on Wednesday. Nothing for Kyler Gordon. And then you have a limited injury designation showing up with a groin and calf. Then you have on Friday, did not practice and being labeled out for this game. And then we get the news not too long after Lamar Jackson's been officially designated as out, that Kyler Gordon's going on IR with this groin and calf injury. And this is a guy now at this point, as I was kind of like thinking about this show, it's fair to say and fair to assume that Kyler Gordon is not playing a full season. And it's fair to assume that Kyler Gordon, I think the label injury prone may be a little harsh, but it's kind of what it is at this point, unfortunately. And that's a big blow for this Bears defense, knowing that you're not going to have Kyler Gordon at least for 4 games. Could be longer. Don't know. With the groin, just never know. It's always been like lower body injuries with Kyler too. I know he broke one of the thumbs, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in his career. But at this point, you're just with Kyler Gordon, you're kind of expecting him to miss time, which is unfortunate because look, you will not find a bigger supporter of Kyler Gordon's game or even who he is as a person than me. I remember going into that draft 2022 wanting Kyler Gordon, actually predicting that the Bears were going to select him, and they did. But at this point, he just hasn't been able to stay consistently on the football field. I want to see if I can actually pull up his injury history just to see exactly what this guy has been through. Yeah, Draft Shark sometimes has a good amount of his histories. You have this would be October 13th, 2024, thigh hamstring strain pull. Gordon hurt his hamstring in the week 6 game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? In London game. Missed time after that. September 10th, 2023, hand fracture. Had a concussion in 2022, and now you get IR again with the groin and calf. Just not a good. It's just obviously not where Kyler Gordon wants to be. And I know out of all, like anybody, he really wants to be out there. He was talking about how frustrating it was, coming back from his injury this season to all the time he had to miss. And so I would just knowing him and the competitor that he is, I know he wants to be out there. And we saw last week what Dennis Allen can do with a guy like Kyler Gordon, right? Somebody that can blitz off the edge. He got 1 sack and they want to send him again. Like, that's a type of player that you can get. Even the big hit that he got penalized for on Alvin Kamara last week. I honestly have no issue with it. Yes, you have to not leave your feet and go for the head, things like that, but that's just a physicality he plays with. That's the presence he has. But unfortunately for the Bears, now you're not going to have that for at least 4 weeks. And it is obviously a huge blow to this defense. So you have that. Braxton Jones as well being placed on IR. And what that move does though is allow Ozzie Trapillo to, I would think, be on the active roster as your swing tackle. So you get some reps for him. And honestly, based off of, what coaches, the games that are being played and what coaches are kind of saying, Theo Bennett's your left tackle. So I don't know if there was really a space or a realm for Braxton Jones at this point. And he missed. He was limited on Wednesday's practice with a knee, did not practice on Thursday and Friday with that knee injury, out, and now placed on IR. So you have that. Also, to go along with all the news that's happening, Austin Booker, he will be out for this Week 8 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. But what's interesting with him, I had to go back and see exactly when, but I'm fairly certain, actually I am certain, that the Bears opened up his 21-day practice window. That would have been, I wrote the article for Marquee Sports Network. That was 3 weeks ago. So that would have been October 7th. If I'm not mistaken, October 7th. So the 21-day practice window, he's still out. The Bears have until the 28th, which is Tuesday. If I math right, the 28th Tuesday, 21 days after that October 7th date, to basically activate Austin Booker, or his season's done. So that's where the Bears are kind of dealing with. And going back, Austin Booker, he was dealing with, I believe, was it a knee injury? Knee in the preseason against the Buffalo Bills on August 17th. Then he was placed on short-term IR after the preseason finale against the Chiefs. And now we're here today where Austin Booker's still not active. And the latest would be that Tuesday, or his season's over with. And it's interesting because I've seen Austin Booker in the locker room. Austin Booker hasn't been on the injury report. I'm looking right now. Austin Booker, knee, full on Wednesday, full on Thursday, full on Friday, questionable, out this game against the Ravens. Angbangba, knee injury, full, questionable. He's still out too. So it's just been interesting. All these injuries, guys being placed on IR, guys not coming back from IR. Technically, too, Jalen Johnson, this would have been his first week that he would have been eligible to come back at IR is the earliest. clearly that wasn't the case, and he still has some time if that is what is in the future for Jalen Johnson. So still some other guys that we need to be mindful of as we're looking at injuries and who can come back and, how this is all going to play out for the Bears and some of their key players, some contributing players and just backup players at this point in time. We have a super chat here, which I appreciate it. Emiliano Brito, $1.99. Ben, the Pen, Johnson, and Dennis, the Menace Allen. I feel like being an introductory for like WWE or something like that. I like it. Ben, the Pen, Johnson, Dennis, the Menace Allen. Just rewatching the tape, the all 22 from that Saints game. Dennis Allen is a freaking a menace. He is somebody that lines up 8 on the line of scrimmage. You don't know who's going to go blitz, and you don't know who's going to drop back in coverage. And if you are a young quarterback in this league still trying to figure things out, good luck. Spencer Rattler was playing decent football before, he went up against that Bears defense and Dennis Allen, and then the turnovers happened. So Dennis Allen can definitely get in his bag and make things happen when he goes up against some quarterbacks that, even with quarterbacks that have seen a lot, still a lot to ask of those guys, the offensive line, diagnose what's going on in split seconds at the line of scrimmage, and then boom, it looks one way, post snap, it looks a completely different way. But Dennis the Menace Allen, I like it. I like it. Let's get to Rod D's comment here. Is Josh Blackwell going to play the slot or corner? I expect him to play in the nickel with Nick McLeod on the outside, opposite of Nashawn Wright. Going back to training camp days, Nick McLeod would be out there with that first team defense at times, but he was playing that nickel spot. But I just think how it's going to play out with Gordon out, Tyreek Stevenson out. I'm really curious to see with Tyreek Stevenson the severity of that shoulder injury. But I do expect Nick McLeod to be on the outside, Josh Blackwell to be on the inside. And I will say this, it does become a little easier if you are all these backup DBs coming into playing this game, knowing that you're preparing for Tyler Huntley as opposed to former 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Let's be honest there. So that if there was ever a time to not have technically your 3 starting cornerbacks, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, not playing in this game, it would be now against a backup quarterback and a 1-5 Ravens team that hasn't won since week 2. That was also the last time the Bears lost the game, week 2 against the Detroit Lions. Crazy the different paths that both these teams have taken since week 2. But that's getting up to date with everything that's happened. Like I said, the last hour or two, since I was golfing, I saw all this news happening, and I'm like, man, I feel helpless just here. Technically, it's my off day from Marquee Sports. So I'm like, I want to be back out there or helping out. But I also had the not the round of my life, the whole of my life, just closing it out there, getting better on the greens, whatever. I don't even know the proper terminology for golf, but finding some groove there. Love it. Here's what we're going to do. We still got to preview this game. There's still so much to talk about with this game. Also, last time I tried sharing my screen through StreamYard, it did not work. So I need you in the comments to let me know if you're going to be able to see this next screen after, of course, I tell you about some of our great sponsors. But yeah, we still have to talk about this week 8 matchup. I gave my prediction actually this morning. This was with Lamar Jackson playing. You'll see what that is in a little bit here. But now that he's not, come on now. I think you already know who I'm going to go with for this week 8 matchup. But before we get into this preview, talk about this game, what to watch out for, what I'll be keying in on as we watch Bears-Ravens week 8 at M&T Bank Stadium, I have to tell you about my friends at Windy City Sports Cards. Of course, guys, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. So whether you are a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or Blackhawks, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to those Chicago-focused items, everybody, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. So visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for, or to simply complete your collection and to discover a new favorite. Check them out at 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. That's WindyCitySportsCards.com. Also, check out my friends at Triumph Drinks. Actually, these Triumph has come up clutch lately with all the weddings that I've been to. The night prior and the day after, taking just a little packet of Triumph, you're going to be feeling solid the next day. But like Ben Johnson is going to make it happen this season, is currently making it happen this season. You guys made this happen. Triumph Drinks is back for month 3 because of your support. And to celebrate, they gave us an even better deal. Isn't that great? To show some love to you guys for supporting the show, when you use the code NICK, N-I-C-K, you get 25% off your next order. So Triumph is clean. It tastes amazing. No sugar, no artificial ingredients. So thank you guys for making this possible. And now enjoy 25% off your next purchase when you use the code NICK, N-I-C-K. All right, everybody. This is the Nicholas Moreano Show. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. I see some people are in the chat here talking it up. Love that. Let's go build up the community here, Bears community. And, it's a good time. Bears are on a 4-game winning streak. And I don't even know if I need to sugarcoat this. They're about to make it 5 against the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday, especially with no Lamar Jackson out there for the Ravens. And let's go into this game. And actually what I want to do for the people in the comments right now, need your help. I'm going to share my screen. Last time this didn't work. And if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world because I have all the stats in front of me, but pro.nfl.com. And I always get questions like this too when I post all 22 tape, just whether it's in the breakdowns that I do with the players or just when I find plays that I want to share with you guys. You get it from here. This is where you get all 22. You pay for it, year subscription, and then you get all access to all the all 22 everywhere. So it's not like an exclusive thing for anybody, but let me know if you can see this. Okay? We're going to share the screen, and if we can't, oh well. Oh well, I guess I can just read it to you, but it should work. So let me know. Should be sharing it right now, or let's see, add to stage. Maybe this is, we could do this. Let's freaking go. I know you can see this because I can see it. So this is just pro.nfl.com's page here when you go into games prior to the matchup. But they just do a really good job of just kind of displaying some of the key stats going into the game. As you can see here, I think maybe you can't see my cursor, but points per game at a glance, this middle section that you see. Bears are 10th at 25.3. The Ravens, 24th, 15th in the league. Point differential, -3 for the Bears, 19th. Look at the Ravens, -50 at 26. Record in close games. We know that the Bears have struggled in the past with this, but 2-1, some fourth quarter comebacks, block field goals, fourth quarter drives, 0-2 for the Ravens. Turnover differential. That's key. This is obviously going to be a big one. Bears are +11. You see that? That's number 1 in the NFL. It does help when you have 16 takeaways, which leads the league, but +11 for the Bears. And look at where the Ravens are at. -7, 31st. When we think about key stats that really can tell why a game goes the way it goes, that's one of them that I'll be looking at. Turnover differential. Bears play a clean brand of football on Sunday. They're going to win this football game. They don't, and they play somehow these two things go the opposite way, then yeah, on the road, even without Lamar Jackson, you're putting yourself in a bad position to lose a game that you absolutely need to win. Total penalties. Bears need to clean this up. 53, that's 22nd. 38 for the Ravens, so 3rd in the NFL. They play their clean brand of football in a different way with the penalties. So the Bears obviously need to do better there. But as I scroll down here, and hopefully it's not too. Oh wow, look at that! Look at that, you guys. Just zooming in so everybody can see. But we're looking at the Bears offense versus the Ravens defense. And I like the little stars that they give. Who actually has the advantage in this one? Bears offense ranked 12th in overall passing efficiency, which I'm kind of surprised about considering that the passing game's been a little. It has been inconsistent. Let's just put it like that, right? 12th, but the Ravens defense 30th. Bears have the clear advantage with 4 stars. Overall rushing efficiency, Bears 19th. again, this Ravens defense, despite having a lot of playmakers back there, Roquan Smith's been out. He'll be back this week. Number 30th in the NFL. Bears get a 3-star advantage. And then pressure rate. Bears 11th in the NFL. So just outside the top 10 with their offensive line and what they're doing. Ravens defense haven't really been able to get after the quarterback. 28th, 4 stars. So you see that way. Now let's go the opposite end here. And the Bears had all the advantages. Ravens offense, overall passing efficiency. No Lamar Jackson last 2 weeks, even with him. They actually scratch that. With them, they were scoring points, but without him, obviously that hasn't been the case. Number 21 compared to the Bears defense, number 11 in the league. Bears get the clear advantage. Overall rushing efficiency. This one's interesting. Ravens at 13, Bears defense 16. The Ravens get the 1-star advantage there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Derrick Henry's just outside 15th or around there in terms of rushing yards. He's had one really dominant game, and then if we all remember back to week 1, was it the Buffalo Bills shootout fumble? He's had some fumbling issues there, and it's cost him some games. But it hasn't been consistent for the Bears rushing attack, and the Ravens rushing attack. It doesn't get easier not having Lamar Jackson out there. Tyler Huntley, though, even going back to the second half of that Los Angeles Rams game where he replaced Cooper Rush, you saw him get outside of the pocket, extend plays with his legs, and then just use his legs to run. So the Bears need to be mindful of that. But I do think it really does help that the Bears played against 2 mobile quarterbacks the last 2 weeks in Spencer Rattler and then Jaden Daniels. I think you could take bits and pieces from both of those and apply it in this one against Tyler Huntley. In the last category here, pressure rate, 25th for the Ravens, the Bears defense 25th. So nobody gets the advantage there on that one. So one other key thing, because I don't want to go through every single one of these. They have so many key stats here, though. This one right here, if you could see this Caleb Williams, I can zoom in a little bit more. Perfect. Caleb Williams versus the Ravens defense. I'm just going to read this verbatim, and then I'll get off of this. But this is an interesting stat here to be mindful of. Caleb Williams has averaged a league-high 10.4 yards per attempt against man coverage this season, over a full yard more than any other qualified quarterback, Sam Darnold, with 9.0. This marks an improvement from his rookie season when he averaged just 5.5 yards per attempt against man coverage, the 4th fewest. Williams has completed 67.6% of his pass attempts against man this season, 3rd highest for 5 of his 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Now the matchup. The Ravens have utilized man coverage on 38.4% of opponent dropbacks. That's the 5th highest rate in the NFL. They have allowed the 6th highest completion percentage, 63.4%, and 6.7 yards per attempt. The NFL average 6.5 when doing so. So now we'll get off of this because I think that's just a really interesting stat to be mindful of as we're going into this Week 8 matchup between the Bears and Ravens. Caleb Williams has been taking advantage of man coverage defense and doing it at a high rate, throwing more yards per attempt than anybody else in the NFL. And like I just read you, the Ravens play a lot of man. And what I believe it was Ben Johnson. Yes, Ben Johnson was saying this. I was trying to think of Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle. The corners for the Ravens, physical group of guys, a lot of former first-round draft picks back there. But these Bears wide receivers need to come out and play. And when I go back and just remember some of the plays from that Bears-Saints game, for Rome Odunze, we need to start seeing him make catches when they're in contested situations. Do you guys agree with me on that? As good as Rome has been this season, it feels like there's still yards left out on the football field, right? Where for whatever reason, actually not for whatever reason, but when there is a DB kind of draped over him, Rome Odunze, and he has a chance to get his hands on the football, bring it back to his chest. For whatever reason, he can't make that play. And not to say that I'm not saying that he's never made that play, but I know there's two plays in particular at the end of the half where one was near the right sideline ball hits Rome in the hands. Can't make that catch. There was also another one where Rome's coming back to the football, hits his hands, and then is immediately hit by the DB from the back, not able to complete the catch. I want to start seeing Rome make those, man. And if he could start adding that to his game on top of everything else that he's done, you have a guy that is too tough to cover. One, as a route runner, I love the way Rome runs routes. Love it. Watch him run double moves and watch DBs bite on that stuff. I was about to swear there. I don't know why, but just bite on that and then accelerate upfield. Watch him sometimes when he's blocking. It's been a little inconsistent this season, but when he's there making plays, he can do that. Inbreakers, outbreakers. He can be a complete wide receiver. I need to start seeing him make some of those contested catches. And guess what? In this game, I expect there to be some situations like that, especially with how much the Ravens play man coverage, and just knowing that those guys will stay attached at the hip. I just kind of anticipate that being something that is going to happen at some point or another in this game. So I want to see Rome capitalize. Dark City in the chat. This game is going to be a high scoring game. You know what? I expected that with Lamar playing. I don't know about that with Tyler Huntley. That offense has not been great since he's been out. And maybe that's the case. And maybe obviously this is a desperate football team with the Baltimore Ravens at 1-5. But to me, the biggest factor in this game is going to be, I think, for the defensive side of the ball for the Bears when going up against Tyler Huntley, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Hopkins, all those guys, is like when Tyler Huntley does avoid pressure, how does this Bears defense respond? And that goes into coverage with the guys that are going to be filling in for the starters, and Nashawn Wright and Nick McLeod, Josh Blackwell. So how long can they hold up? How much pressure can these defensive ends actually apply? Right. So there's things that are just that's I think going to be the X factor in this game defensively for the Bears. When the play does get extended, how do they finish it? Right. And if they can win those matchups more times than not, or, apply pressure off the edge. Like there are a couple times just watching, because the Ravens are coming off a bye, but watching that Los Angeles Rams game, there was a couple times where DBs blitz off the edge and Cooper Rush had no freaking idea. Tyler Huntley was, pressured a couple times, but able to have that maneuverability back there, makes plays happen. So you need to see guys hit home if that's what Dennis Allen envisions in this game plan. Sound tackling against Derrick Henry. Has to be sound tackling. You do not want to get that guy clean after the first level of the defense on your linebackers, on your defensive backs. Like I cannot imagine Nashawn Wright tackling Derrick Henry. You do not want to end up being one of those guys who gets stiff-armed into the earth or into the stands, whichever one. You don't want to be that if you're a DB. So I went around the Bears locker room this week just asking guys, how do you approach Derrick Henry? What's the approach here? And what Dennis Allen was saying in the press conference room first was like, you need a bunch of different hats. You need multiple bodies to bring down Derrick Henry. And then just even talking with like guys like Andrew Billings. Don't tackle that guy high. Don't do it. Don't be a hero there. I don't think the Bears should be looking for kill shots on Derrick Henry. You just need to have sound tackling. Wrap up and make sure you bring multiple guys with you. Especially if he gets past the first wave of the defense, that defensive line. And I had as one of my 5 players to watch, to watch in this game, you check out that on MarqueeSportsNetwork.com. Andrew Billings is going to be, I think, a huge factor in this one. The most snaps he played this season was against the Washington Commanders, who at the time were leading the league in rushing, still are leading the league in rushing, but he had the most snaps in that game. And for the most part, the Bears contain the Commanders' rushing attack outside of some runs from Jaden Daniels. So that I think is going to play a factor in this one. Just Andrew Billings, his ability to just stuff some gaps, not allow some of the athletic offensive line like Tyler Linderbaum, former Iowa Hawkeye, to get second level, to create space, create movement, create lanes. You can't have that happen. So it's going to be a test for this Bears defense, no doubt about it. But it does become that much easier not having Lamar Jackson. And look, they do have weapons. Zay Flowers, he had 2 fumbles in the game against the Rams, and that Baltimore Ravens offense could not move the ball consistently. Actually, at the end of the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, they had more rushing yards in that game at the end of the first quarter with Derrick Henry than they did in their previous loss. I couldn't tell you exactly who that was, but I know that was one of the stats there. So they wanted to establish the run game early. They did it against the Rams, but then just how the game was playing out, it just wasn't consistent. And if you know exactly what's going to happen, you're running the football, you can stack the box and not allow Derrick Henry to get a full head of steam going up the field. Then if we're looking really the opposite here, Bears defense, I think everybody, Roquan Smith. Is it Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken? He had a really good game. John Jenkins. I believe it's John Jenkins against the Baltimore Ravens, against the Los Angeles Rams. So someone to be mindful of there. You have Humphrey on the outside as one of your corners, Marlon Humphrey. You have Wiggins as the other one. And when you hear Ben Johnson talk about it, he mentioned all these guys in length, but somebody that he went really in depth with is Kyle Hamilton. And I was tracking some of his stats of where he plays. The dude is everywhere, and I actually have it pulled up right here. Been on the D line for 28 snaps. In the box, 103 snaps. 64 snaps in the slot. Out wide, 7 snaps. Free safety, 139. Like, dude's everywhere. And you have to watch wherever number 14's at on the football field. But if you're the Bears, man, I do like the possibilities of this passing game being a lot more effective this week than it was against the New Orleans Saints. And it does help that the pass rush has been really inconsistent or non-existent for the Baltimore Ravens. And then, like I said, you just need to win matchups. You need to be physical at the point of attack. If you're Roma Dunze, if you are DJ Moore, whenever Luther Burden gets his opportunities. And I hope he does get a little bit more in this one. That's going to be matchups to watch. And then, look, not that this is an indication that it's going to work out, but I picked up Colston Loveland in fantasy this week, especially with Cole Kmet being out. I think there's going to be opportunities for him. I asked Declan Doyle this week on Thursday, what more does Colston Loveland have to do to avoid a offensive pass interference call? Like, what else does he have to do? If you guys remember the play, he ran a in-breaking slant route. Or actually, it was just an in-breaking route. Showed the hands. Like, hey, I'm ready to catch the ball. Defenders tripped over themselves, and DeAndre Swift leaks out for the swing. Actually, for the swing pass up the field. And, Caleb needs to throw a better ball, but it was brought back because of OPI. Like, what else can he do? And, it sounds like the Bears submitted that play. And based off of Declan Doyle's reaction, it's like, we're going to keep teaching it the way that he did it. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong. And the Bears, is it fair to say, you guys, that the Bears are going to get screwed over on a egregious, clearly not a penalty? Is it safe to say that? Did I jinx them? But do you expect that at this point? Right? Where there's just going to be a flag thrown and you're just like, what the hell? How did that happen? Pick that up. Like, I just feel like at some point in this game, there's going to be one of those penalties. It feels like at every point in this Bears 2025 season, there's been one of those calls. Just saying it. Probably going to happen again. Hopefully it's not the Colston Loveland, because back-to-back weeks, he's had plays taken away because of these penalties. Yeah, Dr. Truth. That rub route penalty was absurd. He played that perfectly. He did. I didn't get a chance to talk to him in the locker room this week to just ask him about that. Like, as a rookie, you're like, I'm doing what I'm coached. it looks legal to me, and I'm still getting flagged for it. Man, it's crazy. It really is crazy. All right, guys. I feel like I've been just rambling on. Hopefully, it's good discussion. And I'm looking at the comments here. If you have anything, please let me know. Yeah, if anything you want to discuss. But actually, DJ to Prince, which team has a special teams edge? It's a good question. That is a good question, because now, did I miss it? Was there any official injury designation with Cairo Santos? Is he still just listed as questionable? Because if that's the case, I wonder how that's going to play out with, just Cairo sitting the last couple of weeks. Like, is that going to be what they do? I don't think anything, like, yeah, Jake Moody. I don't think anything's been said yet, right? Maybe I missed it. Golfing, shouldn't have done that. Actually, it's my day off. Why not? But yeah, like seeing that, what's that going to look like? The Rams, just going back to the last matchup that the Ravens had, the Rams were just atrocious on special teams, and the Ravens had a decent return on punt after the Rams had made a mistake on it. Actually, after the Ravens fumbled on a punt return, then there was a flag which allowed the play to rehappen again, and then the Ravens get a nice return off for the second time. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a clear edge either way, but the Cairo Santos factor is going to be interesting to watch, especially if he's the kicker on Sunday. He was a full participant in Thursday and Friday with that right thigh, so just something to be mindful of. What are your favorite position matchups to watch? Ron Burgundy. Somebody was talking about Ron Burgundy as like a costume, and have I done that one time? I don't know. But I'm really look, going back in the trenches, Andrew Billings versus Tyler Linderbaum. Sign me up. Sign me up for that one. That's one of the best centers in the league versus, Andrew Billings, who as stout as they come in terms of holding their ground, not allowing gaps to be created. I'm all for that matchup. Let's go. So that's one of them. Humphrey, the corner for the Ravens versus Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, whoever's side that is. Roquan Smith, DeAndre Swift. I want to see that. I want to see how Roquan plays, because this has not been a Roquan Smith type of year. Been slow. I think not getting off blocks. Just, yeah, we need to see. I want to see him out in space with some of these guys. But yeah, I don't think there's actually just how the Bears play Kyle Hamilton wherever he lines up. Here's actually one last thing before I get my final prediction. We get everybody out of here and you guys go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. But I really want to see the physicality show up. Guys, when you go back and watch that Saints game, it just wasn't the Bears defense that played with this physical, violent presence. Because you saw that there were big hits delivered, penalties or not, there were big hits delivered. But it showed up on kickoff. You go watch some of those kickoffs, you guys. Josh Blackwell's in the mix in both of the ones that I know I highlight. Daniel Hardy, Travis Homer, delivering big hits. But offensively, you're going 2 tight end sets, 3 tight end sets, moving people. I don't care what the record is for the Ravens, 1-5, 5-1. It could be whatever. They are a physical team. That is how they play football. So on Sunday, tomorrow at M&T Bank Stadium, the Bears need to show that physicality that they dominated the Saints with, it does travel. It shows up. And you're winning the line of scrimmage. Actually, Ben Johnson said that's one of the first things he sees when he goes back and rewatches the game. Where's the line of scrimmage moving on both sides? Is the offense creating push, and is the defense denting the pocket? That's what I want to see. Can the Bears replicate that? And not only replicate it, but make it a part of their identity. I'm not quite there yet, because I feel like last Sunday's game against the Saints was the really true, the Bears were the more physical team. They brought it on all sides, all phases. Let's see if that shows up again, you guys. I think it needs to to beat this Baltimore Ravens team. Desperate team, you guys. They're 1-5. If they want any chance of being, still competing in the AFC North, they need to win this football game. Let's be real. They need to. And then Lamar Jackson will be back for Thursday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins. We need to see that. Absolutely need to see the physicality show up here. And if we do, I think the Bears win this one I don't want to say easily. The Bears win this one. All right. Here, Dr. Truth is a good comment. I feel for the Bears linebackers tomorrow. They're all going to need ice baths, especially with Ravens fullback Ricard healthy to block for King Henry. Really good point. I'm glad that you brought up Ricard because he is a physical presence too. But yeah, after this one, man, you're going to be hurting. But if you can, I would assume it's just going to feel a lot better knowing that you got to go to get those ice baths after a 5th straight victory as opposed to the first loss since week 2. So I think that's what ends up happening for the Bears. I know I've been talking for 40 minutes and I've already teased that I have the Bears winning, but I had the Bears winning this one 27-24 with Lamar Jackson playing. I think I can adjust. I think I'm allowed to adjust that here on the, with all of you, where it's more of a 27, let's move it 27-20 game. A whole full touchdown favorite, which I think is even being too gracious for the Bears right now, despite Lamar Jackson being out. But I think the Bears get this done. Like I said, they played mobile quarterbacks before. Tyler Huntley doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to unlock this offense after coming off of still a 4-game losing streak. I think going to make it 5. The weapons on the outside are not the most deadly ones that the Bears have even faced this season, but it's all going to really depend on how the Bears play this Ravens rushing attack. You cannot allow Derrick Henry to take over this game. So I do expect clean football, sound tackling, and a lot of hats to be around King Henry. So I'm going 27-20, but as we're kind of closing out the show, what do you have as your Bears predictions? And give me either an X factor or who do you think is going to score a touchdown or just a bold prediction? What's your bold prediction for week 8? I guess I didn't even give one, right? So I feel like I have to. You know what? This feels like, does this not feel like like a pick 6 type of game or a fumble return for a touchdown type of game in the Bears' favor? Make it clear there. It just feels like that. So my bold prediction is that the Bears defense is going to have a defensive touchdown. Don't know when, don't know how, but it feels like a defensive touchdown is going to happen with this one. Whether it's punching the football out of Tyler Huntley's hands, Zay Flowers, who fumbled 2 times in the last game they played against the Los Angeles Rams 2 weeks ago. Derrick Henry's had some fumble returns. So let's go with that Bears defense is going to force a fumble, interception, something, get a return touchdown, and win this game 5 straight for the Chicago Bears to go to 5-2 in the NFC. Or 5-2, not in the NFC North. They still 0-2. Started there. But let me see what we got here. We got Melon Smasher. 35-17. Bears win. Love it. Also, a bold prediction from Melon Smasher. Bold prediction is Caleb completes 70% of his passes. I know that's the benchmark. Caleb hasn't quite gotten there yet, but that's all right. The Bears have still been winning despite him not having his best performances, but still winning nonetheless. All right, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate everyone for coming in, tuning in, hanging out. Not unless there's a couple more bold predictions or score predictions coming in here, but thanks for hanging out on your Saturday. A lot of news has just dropped in, not too long ago, but before you guys head out, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Watch some football, college, NFL tomorrow. Can you just give this video a like? Leave a comment on the page or on the YouTube video. Share this YouTube channel with your fellow Bears fans. Just let them know. Got you guys with content, and I need to get it's. I'll be straightforward with you too. It's been really hectic the last month and a half. I feel like I've been to a bachelor wedding or a wedding or a bachelor party every other week. So it's been a little inconsistent here, but we're clean. We're clean next week. Yeah. And then the following week, I have one more bachelor party. But we'll try to get more consistent with this, you guys. The YouTube Shorts, Instagram, but also obviously the YouTube channel as well. So that's going to close it out for this episode of the Nicholas Moriano Show. Also, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. We're on there as well for the audio listeners. But everybody have a great rest of your day. See what the Bears go out and do. And I have them winning their fifth straight against the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow at M&T Bank Stadium. But make sure to also, I won't be live here on YouTube, but there'll be plenty of great Bears content on the Marquee Sports Network website, bunch of written content. Scott Bear and I will do a live, or not a live show, but we'll do a post-game show. I'll share that on all my social media channels as well. But everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend, and let's see what the Bears do tomorrow against the Baltimore Ravens. Adios, Bears fans. Bend over to your right. What the was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk.